The roller coaster of Call of Duty Modern Warfare's potential monetization this week has added another twist. Activision have revealed that Call of Duty Modern Warfare will break convention, not have a loot box system, actually promising any and all items will impact game balance being unlocked by playing the game. So the question here is, what, why, and well, can we even believe them? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Industry Report, the series where we dive deeper into the biggest stories of the industry. Before we get started though, be sure to like, sub, and ring that bell to let the almighty YouTube algorithm know that we're worth our salt, and with that, let's get into the video. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare is only a week away from its launch, and before this announcement, we had heard nothing about the game's long-term monetization goals outside of them not planning multiplayer DLC. Now, Call of Duty is always going to be huge in spite of the community's fears, but Activision's recent adventures in monetization, well, they really did poison the series' name. Now, obviously, it is within Activision Blizzard's business interests to find a monetization strategy the players will actually accept, but still makes them the required bucket loads of cash. And with this announcement, it seems like they finally understand a little bit of the players will accept part of the monetization. So, for some background here, the method Activision have fallen back on is to delay the rollout of microtransactions and loot boxes for the first couple of weeks of their game's releases. Now, even with Call of Duty Black Ops 4 now regarded as the rock bottom of Activision's monetization policy, that started life off relatively untainted, if you can possibly imagine that. And of course, that was the thing. Players, thinking it was an untainted game, they purchased it, they saw the expected microtransactions, and then they saw it get worse and worse. And the problem with this strategy is, well, they can only really use it before players catch on, and now players have caught on. Modern Warfare is a different beast entirely. While it is a new game, it still carries the Modern Warfare moniker and all the recognition that comes with that. Now, this branding harks back to the good old days in a way which no doubt will resonate with players and will pick up sales and engagement from the audience that drove the series to such colossal heights 12 years ago. I mean, Modern Warfare sold 10 million units after 8 months, and its successor managed 20 million in the same period. Now, their goal isn't sales, though. Their aspirations, of course, for profit have went up since 2007 a little bit more. They will, of course, want to make more money than ever before with this, and we all know what that typically means. Now, for context here, let's do a quick recap of the worst of BLOPS 4. So first, massive amounts of fluff items designed to dilute the value of loot boxes. Next, literally game-changing weapons were locked behind, loot boxes. And then they even added dupe-protected loot boxes in a way that meant they cost a lot more than the regular crates, which is the epitome of, just creating the problem and selling you the solution. And that's only some of what they got up to. There was so much more, with the game just pushing the boundaries further and further with every update. Now, with that knowledge, people were rightly terrified that, Modern Warfare was going to be a problem, especially given the major silence before its release. Now, before this announcement, all we'd heard was rumors that supply drops were planned and that they were going to be pretty terrible. The Gaming Revolution tweeted, "Who wants 300 plus emotes in supply drops? Who wants 500 plus titles? Who wants 200 sprays in supply drops? Weapons are coming too. Forget any cosmetic-only market." Now, that was from the Gaming Revolution, who's been a credible source for the development of these games, alongside some other players finding references to supply drops when data mining the beta, and that was extremely worrying, and people were vocal about it. So that was quite the response, and that combined with earlier backlash about the year-long PS4 exclusivity of the survival mode, well, it seems to have had Activision rattled. Rumors began circulating that Activision were basically having a sit-down meeting with Infinity Ward to work out this supply drop problem. Now, we've reported on Infinity Ward's response to some of this controversy, and it's important to emphasize here that we've been told that the dodgy decisions there were made over their heads. The game's art director, actually, after addressing the survival mode a while ago, returned to Reddit to alleviate some concerns. In an update addressing the fear of supply drops, they wrote that, "We are focused on making a different system for Modern Warfare, one with a direct path to content for players." And, of course, given all the context, though, not everyone believed him, and I think they were right not to believe him because we had similar assurances back with Black Ops 4. We now know via Activision's blog post that actually was entirely true, and that Modern Warfare is not launching with any loot boxes, instead opting for a standard battle pass and an in-game store. For a quick rundown of their announcement, Infinity Ward first reiterate that, what we've already heard, right, that they're going to introduce crossplay, remove a season pass, and the DLC obviously multiplayer maps will be free post-launch, and the same goes for modes, and that will be simultaneous across all platforms, and that it's all in the service of breaking down walls and bringing the community together. So, okay, fair enough, we'd already heard that stuff. After this, though, they moved to what we all cared about, the in-game economy. Now, this, word for word, is what they say. We are introducing a new Battle Pass system, not a loot box system. All functional content that has an impact on game balance, such as base weapons and attachments, can be unlocked simply by playing the game. Okay, sounds good, right? But I've got to wonder, where have we heard that before? Because when Black Ops 4 ran into an issue with Blackout characters being behind a paywall, well, players dug up an interview with Treyarch's design director, who claimed that characters would all be locked behind gameplay. Now, he replied at the time saying that it wasn't their decision to make, and that at the time of his initial interview, he was speaking truthfully. So that is food for thought here. They could always change some of this. Now, they go on a bit further, justifying the Battle Pass, saying this: the new Battle Pass system will allow players to see the content that they are earning or buying. And that's a statement directly designed to counter the idea of randomized rewards. And then they say this: with the new Battle Pass system, players will be able to earn COD points by playing the game. And again, that sounds good on paper, but it could easily just be a trickle of points designed to get the player's foot in the door, which is a pretty common strategy for systems like this. Further explaining themselves, though, the post reads as follows: there will be both a free stream and a premium stream of content in the Battle Pass system in Modern Warfare. New base weapons will be earned through gameplay simply by playing Modern Warfare. Functional attachments for base weapons can be unlocked through gameplay, as well as just like in the game's beta. So this is basically just explaining what a Battle Pass is, really, and it's reiterating what they said in their previous point. Now, the last point that they make is this: the Battle Pass and the in-game store will feature a variety of cosmetic content that does not impact game balance. So we've got confirmed a premium Battle Pass with an in-game store for the monetization, and while those things are good ways to earn a buck, they don't sound that prone to abuse, and that does inspire a little bit of hope. You may even go so far to actually call them fair, but that is assuming that they stick with their principles there. Now, on that, they say that the Battle Pass will not be in the game for a launch. Instead, it will launch later on in the year, and that's because they're focusing on the day one experience, and they want to give players time to play the game. Now, you're probably all thinking what they go on to address. They recognize that there are some questions about, quote, how the economy will evolve throughout the post-launch live seasons, and that's basically a nice way of them saying, we know you don't trust a damn what we say. In their words, they say this: please know that we are committed to delivering a fair system guided by the principles we've outlined here, and will continue to monitor feedback and player engagement to help us achieve that goal. So that's quite interesting, and it honestly does, it illustrates a shift in Activision's attitude. I mean, we have a good reason to believe that the loot boxes were going to be implemented and were completely ready to go based on the data mining, and that would have been just a few weeks after the launch. Their removal, though, does show a willingness in Activision's part to cooperate with the developers of the game, and importantly, the community on the topic of monetization. They're finally seemingly compromising with their golden goose here, rather than attempting to, gut it, which is what they were previously doing, so that could be a good thing. Now, that said, thanks to the skepticism born out of being hurt over and over and over again, a large portion of the Call of Duty community are obviously reluctant to believe any positive step on Activision's part. Now, I think those responses have came in two flavors. I think there's people who are just thinking, right, good, like face value, they're behaving decently, that's nice. And then there's the people who are just more thinking, well, okay, we get it, for the first few months the game will be fine, but then you'll just patch it and make it worse. And as much as that sounds like, people acting in bad faith, well, I think that cynicism is justified given the precedent that Activision have set before. I mean, they've burned everyone before. What is to stop them from doing the exact same damn thing here again? Well, I'd posit that they have everything to gain by getting some positive sentiment back from their user base. There's a few reasons why I sort of believe that they're going to take it easy with this game and not just at launch. So if they truly aim for a return of lapsed gamers relying on the brand name recognition to get people back into the fold, their game is really, it's going to have all eyeballs in the world on it. Now, given the severe negative press that the predatory monetization strategies have been receiving thus far, that could have resulted in the largest anti-microtransaction headlines yet. And, it could have hastened the end of the industry's extremely extremely profitable toolkit. Now, there is another reason here, and it's one that is a bit more insidious, potentially. According to a credible rumor, Modern Warfare's Battle Royale mode is a free mode set for release in January 2020. It's going to be available for download separate from the main game, but will be able to connect to the main game, presumably for progression and rewards. Now, this would make a lot of sense for Activision in terms of gaining their player base. Everyone who wants to play Modern Warfare but doesn't want to pony up the money, well, they'll get a chance to play through the Battle Royale. They found a lot of success in the Blackout mode of BLOPS 4, so a free-to-play version is likely going to draw in many more people. Now, if Apex, a brand new Battle Royale, can amass such a huge player base so quickly based on just good gameplay and a strong marketing push, imagine what Call of Duty could do with all of its brand recognition, especially with the Modern Warfare sub-brand. Activision could very well just be playing the medium-term game here. Instead of having to sneak loot boxes into Modern Warfare, what if Infinity Ward spared their favorite child by, well, offering up a sacrificial lamb, and we saw the bad stuff in the Battle Royale? That might seem conspiratorial, but Infinity Ward couldn't have gotten out of that meeting without giving up something, right? I imagine the idea of a free-to-play Modern Warfare Battle Royale would have, had Bobby Kotick licking his lips, and I can't imagine that's going to be escaping or, getting out of the gate without some sort of gross monetization being slapped onto it. Now, of course, it goes without saying that Activision are now more than ever in need of positive customer sentiment. Blizzard's struggle over Hong Kong has the potential to cause them severe BlizzCon issues, and that means that Activision Blizzard will want to, at all costs, avoid a repeat of last year's stock freefall. Now, with an absolutely massive release coming up, they have a chance to claw some goodwill back. That's with an eye on the long-term sort of outlook. Now, sure, it's likely going to cost them untold millions to actually act decently within this game and to not go super hard on the microtransactions, but the gaming audience is, I think, much more open to genuine monetization. Even in a full-price game, they could make that work. A fair battle pass that's well-designed with good cosmetics that could make them ungodly amounts of money, especially given the scope of the sales that this game could actually achieve. And of course, that's, never mind how many could actually go for, a battle royale. I mean, just look at the League of Legends situation. Like, that is a game that generally has had very fair monetization, right? They've not really went insane with their customers, and it's got a massive install base. Their microtransactions clearly do well. It's made enough money that in one wave of announcements, they were able to basically just announce a competitor to every single major esports game, which is pretty darn insane. So clearly that structure can actually work. Of course, though, for Activision, I mean, can we really trust them? There's also the case that, yeah, they're doing a premium battle pass in a full price game. That is a little bit much. Now, I also do understand that, well, yeah, it's a $60 game, but those additional content updates, they're not free, and they do have to be paid for some way, and I suppose it comes down to, is a cosmetic battle pass a better, cosmetic battle pass plus free content, is that better than just paid DLC? At this stage, I actually assume that it is, but it all just depends on whether they, sort of ratchet up the evilness once we get a few months into that game. But anyway, there you go. That's the big update from Activision. Seemingly, they have listened to their audience, but how much can we trust them? Really, it's impossible to know, and I wouldn't suspect that much. I'd love to hear what you've got to say on this story down below, and with that, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to catch the second video we're putting up today on the channel, and I will see you next time.